On behalf of Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, ADPC Academy, I welcome you all to our e-learning course on disaster risk communication in the new normal. My name is Dr. Sunil Parashar and I am working as a project officer with the ADPC Academy. I will be your course coordinator for this course. This presentation on the course overview aims to achieve three key objectives. At the end of this session, participants should be able to define the need for disaster risk communication, describe the need for a disaster risk communication plan, and recall the course objectives and completion requirements. To achieve these objectives, this session contains the following. This presentation contains the following agenda: setting the context, course objectives, course contents, course design or methodology, completion policy, and a schedule. Before you go to course objectives, course content, course methodology, completion policy, etc., it is important to set the context first. In this course, disaster risk communication is defined as a preventive activity that helps reduce the adverse impacts of hazard events on people and social systems. Both a one-way transfer of hazard and risk-related information and their management, and a two-way exchange of related information, knowledge, attitudes, and/or values. Preparing communicating actors for hazard events that enables them to better cope with the hazard events. For ADPC, disaster risk communication is different from disaster crisis emergency communications that often focus on communication activities during and after events. From a public health perspective, World Health Organization defines risk communication as the real-time exchange of information, advice, and opinions between experts, community leaders, or officials, and the people who are at risk, which is an integral part of any emergency response. For public health emergencies, risk communication aims to encourage informed decision-making, positive behavior change, and the maintenance of trust. Risk communication includes a range of communication capacities required through the preparedness, response, and recovery phases of a serious public health event. I hope that you can now define disaster risk communication. Now let us understand why we need disaster risk communication. To inform about the risk and actions to reduce such risk. In most countries, governments have a responsibility to provide clear information to the public about hazards, vulnerability, exposure, etc., and on the actions that can be taken at the household, community, and government levels. Therefore, risk communication is critical as it informs about the risk and suggests appropriate actions to reduce such risk. To create governance and accountability for risk reduction. With disaster risk communication, the media can play a crucial role by engaging people on key issues, disseminating information, creating a platform to share ideas, and hosting discussions around governance and accountability for risk reduction. Therefore, risk communication is crucial as it creates governance and accountability for risk reduction. To share improved scientific risk information for making better decisions about the risks. Advances in technologies have improved scientific risk information dramatically in recent years. This valuable information should be effectively communicated to people who need it to make better decisions about the risk. Therefore, risk communication is crucial as it can provide effective platform to share improved scientific risk information for making better decisions about the risk. To share risk information for disaster risk management, decision making at the national and local levels. Risk information provides a critical foundation for managing disaster risk across a wide range of sectors. Therefore, appropriate communication of robust risk information at the right time can raise awareness and trigger actions to reduce risk. I hope you can now explain the need for disaster risk communication. Now let us understand what a disaster risk communication plan is. A disaster risk communication plan provides guides and procedure for the conduct of disaster risk communication within your agency and between your agency, the media, other agencies, and the public in the event of any natural hazard threat or natural hazard induced disaster or controversial issues that demands a response or a desired behavior change. Disaster risk communication planning comprises of 6 steps as shown in the figure on your right, namely situation analysis, audience analysis, goals, objective settings, message development, message delivery, and evaluation. This course focuses on all 6 steps, and these steps will be discussed in detail in the subsequent sessions. I hope you can now explain what a disaster risk communication plan is. Now, let us understand why a disaster risk communication plan is needed. A disaster risk communication plan is needed to create a guide or procedure for the conduct of risk communication, to create information and education to stimulate behavior change, to diagnose and create trust, to create awareness strategies, to motivate the public to act, and finally to develop mediating skills. I hope you can now explain the context covered in the first part of my presentation. This completes the first 2 objectives of my presentations. The subsequent PowerPoint slides will take you to the course objectives, course content, course design, completion policy, and schedule. Now let us look at the course objectives. The course aims to achieve 3 key objectives. At the end of the course, participants should be able to enhance their awareness, knowledge, and skills on effective disaster risk communication. Draft disaster risk communication plan that helps to communicate disaster risk information to vulnerable communities better and to prepare communities to undertake viable and effective solutions. And identify initiatives and good practices on effective disaster risk communication in the new normal for possible future replications. The course objectives will be delivered through 10 key sessions or maybe refer as lessons. These sessions are the core content of this course. Let us look at the course contents. As I said earlier, this course consists of 10 sessions or lessons. Session 1 Course Overview. This session aims to provide participants with an overview of the training course on disaster risk communication in the new normal. It will explain why disaster risk communication plans are needed and provide a course overview and information on the course objective, methodology, and schedule. Session 2 Overview of disaster risk management concepts and frameworks. This session will focus on the concepts, terminologies, and frameworks related to disaster risk management. It will also explore linkages between disaster risk management and disaster risk communication. Session 3 Situation Analysis. In this session, participants will better understand how risk is perceived and why. It is the first step in risk communication planning. Session 4 Disaster risk communication approaches. This session will focus on various disaster risk communication approaches, including the risk communication and community engagement strategy adopted by World Health Organization during COVID-19. Special emphasis will also be placed on gender responsive and inclusive approaches to risk communication. Session 5 Understand Your Audience. This session will focus on defining and explaining the step-by-step process of audience analysis and segmentation. This will allow participants to identify priority audience and craft effective and efficient disaster risk communication plans. Session 6 Establishing Goals and Objectives. The core of this session is about guiding you how to develop goals and SMART objectives for your disaster risk communication plan. Session 7 Developing Right Message. This session will help participants to develop right message by discussing what to say and how to say for disaster risk communication. It will include example on how to talk about the hazard, what to do, as well as message, style, tone, mnemon, accuracy, and so on. Session 8, delivering right message. This session will focus on tools that are useful when communicating risks to the public, such as awareness tools, knowledge tools, decision making tools, and implementation tools. Tools that are traditional as well as modern for communicating risk related to disease epidemics, with the examples will be discussed. Session 9, Monitoring and Evaluation. This session will focus on monitoring and evaluation framework for improving the effectiveness of disaster risk communication plan. The participant will be discussing and identifying steps for preparing and implementing monitoring and evaluation plan. Session 10, Written Demonstration. In this session, participant will share and receive feedback on their disaster risk communication plan from technical expert and other participants. In all these sessions, except session 1 and session 2, you will be working on drafting your disaster risk communication plan through group work assignments. Now let us look at the course methodology or the course design. The methodology of this course consists of 9 components. All contents discussed earlier will be delivered through the following. ADPC Academy will hold 2 discussion forums where you will be able to hear from and connect with the disaster risk communication experts. The first discussion forum will focus on the impact of fake news and misinformation, exploring the key challenges and lessons learned. The second discussion forum will focus on exploring the potential of emerging technologies in connecting the last miles, good practices, and lessons learned from recent disasters. Community visit is an integral part of this training course. The purpose of the online community visit is to learn from the local community in Thailand about their local knowledge and good practices on community early warning system for flood disaster risk reduction. Group work assignments are opportunities to apply your knowledge from each sessions and craft a disaster risk communication plan that you will be presenting at the end of this course. Coaching and mentoring is the optional feature of this training course. The purpose of coaching and mentoring is to provide you with an additional guidance in case you are unable to make progress or you are stuck on the group work assignment exercises. PowerPoint presentations will introduce you to the conceptual foundation of different sessions in an interactive manner. All presentations will be instructor-led and pre-recorded. Tailored curriculum is a guiding document for you to achieve each session's objectives. It will provide you with a detailed explanation of each sessions by briefly discussing all relevant theoretical and practical concepts and case studies. The curriculum will also help you to prepare for and pass quizzes at the end of sessions. You can also use curriculum in your group work assignment exercises. For each session, except session 1 and session 10, a multiple choice quiz or a true-false question will assess your basic comprehension of the session. This is where we invite you to tell us your thought about the course and provide us with a valuable feedback about your learning experience. The course has been designed in a way to provide you with a flexibility in plan your learning progress. The sessions, objectives, and additional materials can be assessed throughout the course. Thus, you only need to complete all required activities before the end of the course. Now, let us look at the course completion policy. The following assessment activities are mandatory for course completion. Completion of evaluation quizzes with marks of at least 75% or above. Participation in the discussion forums and online community visits, and completion of the group work assignments for developing disaster risk communication plan. Let us look at the course schedule. As you know, this course will be conducted from 4th to 22nd July. Let us look at the detailed schedule. Week 1 from 4 to 8 July. It will cover 3 sessions, that is session 1, session 2 and session 3. Week 2 from 11 to 15 July. It will cover 3 sessions, session 4, session 5, session 6. And finally week 3, it will cover 4 sessions, session 7, session 8, session 9 and session 10. This is the end of my presentation on course overview. I hope you are now ready to take this course. I would like to express my best wishes to you and I hope you will enjoy this course. If you have any question, you may write to us using the email ID showing on your screen. On behalf of ADPC Academy, once again, I would like to thank you all for showing interest in our course.